Fate and time are forever intertwined. But what about fate and eternity? Fate smiles upon a thriving Chal under the rule of its new king. A time of celebration has come to the once guarded metal walls. Flowers bloom and people arrive in anticipation of the royal wedding of the King of Chal to his princess. But an unknown evil lurks beyond the eastern mountains. Smoke billows out of an abandoned outpost where a mad scientist tinkers with the blood of a titan and a new threat is born. Will fate have the strength to endure? Only time will tell. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. Today's video, in case the title and the fact that I just read a synopsis didn't already give it away, is another book review. The book being reviewed this time is Dreamtaker, the second book in the Zodiac series written by Azure Rain, and the sequel to Rebirth, which I reviewed last week. For those of you who are curious, I think the book is mostly capable of standing on its own, but I would still recommend that you read the first one, just so you're on the same page as the author would have been when this book was, when this book was written. So you know, so you at least have a better idea of what the framing of this story actually is. With that out of the way, what can I say about the actual book itself? What makes it distinctive? Well, the TLDW for this review is that this book tackles in many ways a lot of the same concepts and themes that the first book did, but in a more contemplative, more character-oriented framing. Sometimes that approach works. Sometimes it doesn't. That's really, and I really can't say what it is about the instances that work and what differentiates them between what doesn't. Or I can, but you'll have to go through the rest of the video to figure that out. If you read the first book and want more of that, then this book might be that which interests you. And now with that, now it's skimming over the surface out of the way, it's time I delve a little bit deeper. The main narrative of this book takes place around a year after the previous book's epilogue, with all of the leading characters having since settled into their new lives. When a new threat emerges, they find that their peace is disrupted, and they now have to contend with a threat that is both more personal and more far-reaching than any of their previous adversaries. This book, just like the previous one, is also told from several POVs, and therefore retains its character-oriented framing and its dynamic pacing. But the creative chaos that the first book really thrived on, is somewhat more restrained within this book, given it is directed along two narrative paths. The first one I'll mention is the side plot, which covers some of the political fallout and consequences that resulted from the actions of the first book. And however, the main plot really focuses on the actions that are distinctive to this book. And it is within this main plot that a lot of the new and expanded world building of this book occurs, and also where consequences of actions both past and present come more into the limelight. And I very much typically enjoy talking about world building, and I have to say that as much as I enjoyed the new world building elements that were sorry about that, that were brought into this book, I kind of don't think enough has really been done with them within this book. It really comes across more like the author just wanted to go through a checklist, like, okay, this has been included, this has been included, this has been included. Now it's time to move on to the next plot beat. Sometimes some information that gets revealed does actually tie into the plot, such as what elements or what items certain characters need in order to fulfill their goals within this book, or why is it that certain characters have an immunity against a certain form of magic. But that doesn't really come up as often as it should, and instead the plot relies a little bit too much on manipulating the actual connections between the characters, and as such, there are lots of melodramatic and soap opera story elements that come up within the narrative. If I were to speculate how this disconnect between setting and plot occurs, I would have two answers. The first one is that the villain of the story holds either holds a lot of necessary information, or has better access to all of the information that is relevant to the plot and to the importance of the actions that are being unfolded. However, the story development requires that the villain keep that keep that information, and have the leading characters chase the villain, which in turn means that they, and implicitly the audience, do not receive the same level of information when it comes to plot development, and which items and facets of it are necessary in order to get the story going. It is unrewarding in a very literal sense, because the readers, when you consider the engagement that is asked of by the readers, there isn't really enough information being given to reward them. I guess a more character-oriented reader might find some solace within the information being presented about the characters, but me personally, I'm not necessarily sure that that really works. The second reason that I've highlighted, one that also accounts for why it is that the villain, that also accounts for scenes where the villain is not present, is that the information presented simply does not have enough page time in order to really breathe, or in order for the audience or the author to really explore the consequences or the meaning of the actions or the events that this book itself describes. Azure kind of went for quantity over connection when it came to the events and information that are relevant to the world and characters within this book. It could represent an interesting setup for the third book, assuming there will be one. But as of right now, at the time of this video's production, that really does not benefit this second book in any way, which in turn means that it displays an intriguing case of sagging middle syndrome. Thankfully, the characterization really does a lot to elevate the story. The new characters introduced immediately come to life and shine through, given with their own distinctive goals, ambitions, and demeanors. you understand what it is. We understand what their deal is and what it is that drives them, what it is that they find intriguing, and what it is they find worth pursuing. The recurring characters, well, they aren't left out to dry either. They also receive plenty of development and plenty of new challenges when it comes to how it is that they how they deal with the and not just with this not just with the main thread of this book, but also with how it's not just with the main thread of this book, but also with how they deal with the rest of the reveals. Sometimes the ways they deal aren't really given the space to be explored, but that is a much rarer occurrence. For the most part, this book is quite effective at treating its characters with the respect and reverence that they do in fact deserve. Overall, Azure Rain's somewhat chaotic angling for for narrative angles and gimmicks does yield a decent amount of success when it comes to expanding the setting and developing her characters. My final rating for Dreamtaker is a 3 out of 5. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video and maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the book itself or to my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and The Path Not Taken, are available at most major book retailers under their respective links in the description down below. Right past my social media links, which I would suggest you check out should you choose to. Additionally, you have the option of supporting me on Patreon, where depending on the level at which you pledge, you will receive various perks. I can't really say what those perks are because as of the time of this video's production, I'm still kind of reworking them. By the time the video comes out, however, you should be able to see them, so go ahead and check that out too. And yeah, until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.